Today we will talk about MacBook Pro. Apple's new MacBook Pro 14-inch 2021 could bring the biggest changes in years to a laptop that could really use a makeover. And now we've heard there's a special Apple event planned for 10 a.m. PT Monday, October 18th, where we believe new 2021 MacBooks will be unveiled. We are expecting to see a new design built around flatter edges, slimmer display bezels, more ports, and the new M1X chip. Plus, we could see the return of MagSafe charging and the end of the Touch Bar. We've already heaped praise on the current MacBook Pro M1, but there's still room for improvement. So a next-gen MacBook Pro is a tantalizing prospect, and one that could see. Apple's MacBook Pro 2021 is tipped to get a 120Hz mini LED display, giving it a panel that the iPad Pro has. Apple is hosting a special event on Monday, October 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific, and since the theme of the event is Unleashed, we expect to see new MacBooks revealed, with an upgraded M1X chip. A leaked image suggests the MacBook Pro will indeed run on a new M1X chip, and will be available in a 512GB SSD 16GB RAM configuration. MacBook Pro 14-inch 2021 rumored release date. It's looking increasingly likely that we'll see the new MacBook Pro 14-inch 2021 release date soon, and a 16-inch MacBook Pro 2021 should be along for the ride. A report from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman says that he expects the new MacBook Pros to launch in the coming weeks at a possible Apple event this October. A separate report from Digitimes says that the MacBook Pro 2021 release date could be pushed back due to the global chip shortage. The publication says to expect the laptop to ship in the fourth quarter. MacBook Pro 14-inch 2021 M1X chip. Since the first ARM-based Apple Silicon processor was named the Apple M1 chip, it's expected Apple will call the next version of this chip the M1X. The rumored Apple M2 chip is now looking set for a next-gen MacBook Air tipped for a 2022 reveal, with the chip focused on efficiency rather than raw power. How will these chips differ from the M1? According to Bloomberg's Gurman, the M1X chip is expected to be a more graphics-intense and professional-focused M1 chip that has allegedly been developed in two variations, both with 10 CPU cores, 8 high-performance and 2 high-efficiency in either 16 or 32 graphics cores. Another report says Apple is planning a 20-core Apple Silicon processor for its 2021 Macs. That's a significant upgrade from its current 8-core, 4 high-performance, 4 high-efficiency chips. MacBook Pro 14-inch 2021. How will Apple improve the M1 chip? The 20-core model would have up to 16 high-performance cores, though Apple is reportedly testing versions with only 8 or 12 high-performance cores enabled. The decision to disable cores would depend on any issues discovered during production. Another leak has claimed that Apple has booked production of a new M2 chip, set for use in its next-gen MacBooks. It's slated to use a 4nm process node, which in turn promises a bigger boost in performance, but not at the cost of power efficiency. That chip could be the aforementioned 20-core version, or something completely different. The next MacBooks could also get a boost in the software department, as one report points to a possible new high-power mode in the latest build of Mac OS 12 Monterey. This would deliver more performance when you need it even while unplugged. MacBook Pro 14-inch 2021 display. Yes, this model appears to possibly mark the end of the 13-inch MacBook Pro, as the reports from Kuo and Gurman only mention 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros for 2021. It's unclear if Apple will change the chassis of the smaller MacBook Pro to accommodate this larger display, or trim the bezels down for more screen space. Gurman reports the latter is the plan for the MacBook Air 2021. The latest tip has the MacBook Pro 2021 slated to get a 120Hz refresh rate mini LED display, which would be a dramatic departure from the 60Hz LCD panel the retinal displays found on the current MacBook Pros. The switch from LCD to mini LED panels promise to give next-gen MacBook Pro brighter and higher contrast displays, providing these leaks and rumors are legitimate. And a 120Hz refresh rate would make scrolling through web pages and apps, as well as working in production software, feel much smoother than before. In a deep dive into the latest Mac OS Monterey beta, 2 new display resolutions were found. As these have never been seen before, we can posit that they are for the MacBook Pro 2021 14-inch and the MacBook Pro 2021 16-inch. The resolutions listed were 3456x 2234 Retina and 3024x 1964 Retina. And though we don't know which resolution corresponds to which rumored next-gen MacBook Pro, both translate to approximately a 250 pixel per inch density, making the screens sharper than those on previous MacBook Pros. MacBook Pro 14-inch 2021 price. This all depends on whether or not the $1,299 13-inch MacBook Pro with M1 released last year sticks around. If so, the 14-inch MacBook Pro would likely start at around $200 to $300 higher. But if the current 13-inch MacBook Pro disappears, we'd expect Apple to keep the $1,299 entry-level price. Apple's kept the same pricing for its entry-level 13-inch MacBook Pro at around $1,299 for a few years now, which was a price drop from the previous $1,799 mark. However, tipster Luke Miani has predicted that Apple will offer an M1X equipped 14-inch MacBook Pro at a starting price of $1,799. MacBook Pro 14-inch 2021 specs. Expect more memory and storage. The Intel-based 13-inch MacBook Pro tops off at 4 TB of storage and 32 GB of RAM, and Apple is likely to match those numbers, as the 14-inch MacBook Pro 2021 would fill that spot in the lineup. But expect the next-gen MacBook to have higher entry-level specs. Tipster Luke Miani believes Apple will ship the entry-level 14-inch MacBook Pro 2021 with an M1X chip sporting a 10-core CPU and 16-core GPU, plus 16 GB of RAM and 512 GB of storage, though you'll have the option to upgrade to a 32-core GPU and 32 GB of RAM. Those specs were backed up by a recent leak supposedly showing a DVT design validation test unit that listed the MacBook Pro as having an M1X chip plus 512 GB mass SSD and 16 GB of unified RAM. Also, expect a slightly high-res screen, moving up from the 13-inch, 2560 x 1600 pixel dimensions of the current entry-level MacBook Pro. Another rumor claims that the 14-inch MacBook Pro will have a 1080p webcam, SD card reader, 3 Thunderbolt USB-C ports, an updated MagSafe port, and an HDMI port. MacBook Pro 14-inch 2021 design. So here's where things get really interesting. With the redesign that the MacBook Pro has needed, we are happy to get more speed and another inch of screen. But Kuo claims that the new models cancel the curvy design of existing models' top and bottom parts and adopt a flat-edged form factor design similar to the iPhone 12. That design language originated with the iPhone 4, and it's also seen in the iPad Pro and iPad Air. Gurman's reporting seems to disagree, as he writes the new Macs will look similar to the current versions, albeit with minor design changes. This was all known information at the moment. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like, subscribe, click to bell. Siri was with you.